Good morning, Houston Zoo. My name is Tim. I'm one of our zookeepers right here in the Wildlife Connections Department and in the Children's Zoo, and I am joined today with some very special guests. We have our banded mongoose mob. We are all enjoying the nice cooler weather, definitely enjoying Zubu until October 31st right now. And we've got quite a few things for them planned for this morning. They're definitely very excited, very curious about whatever I've got today. Today I've got a few pumpkins. I've got some of their food. We're going to do a little bit of enrichment with all of them so they can do all of the natural things that mongooses really like to do. And I'd love to chat with you all a little bit about them. So I'm going to set a few of these out. They might be a little curious. Not something that they normally get. So they're really going to kind of try to maybe dig around in there, see if there's anything really special in there. They might try some. Definitely very curious animals, and I think I'm going to start off with a few of their mealworms as well. So they definitely eat a lot of invertebrates. Is really the biggest part of their diet out in the wild. So I've got some mealworms for them. It gives them a nice little chance to try to, hunt and dig and try to find all of those bugs like they would out in the wild. I'm going to try to get you pretty far and wide. Let's see. But they're not ones for sharing. They're not super social and sharing food, but they really like to spend a lot of time, whether they're sleeping, maybe grooming each other. When they sleep, they'll make just this big, cuddle puddle pile of mongooses stacked on top of each other, whether they're inside of like a dugout little den. Pretty often out in the wild, they'll actually take over like a whole termite mound. So if you look in our habitat out here, you'll see a big termite mound, and they'll eat all the termites up and actually den down inside of there where they can get nice and safe from any kind of predators that might be around. Most predators of them are not going to want to get into a whole mound of termites. Let's see. But we have 9 mongooses here in our mob. They're all about the same age, between 9 and 10 years old. And they're all, definitely pretty comfortable with each other. They all have names that are in Swahili as well. So Robo, Hakuna, Tatu, Mosi, Josie, Mohar, just a few of them. I always like Hakuna. It's probably my favorite. She has kind of a lighter eye on one side. Maybe if they come up closer, I can point her out. But in Swahili, a lot of people know Hakuna from Hakuna Matata. And with troubles or worries, that fits right up their lane. They definitely like to dig up things, are really curious animals, so they're definitely pretty special. So while the banded mongooses are not an endangered species, there are actually a lot of species that might rely on, them that are endangered, whether it's like the African painted dogs like you might find here at the zoo, maybe martial eagles, leopards, jackals. Definitely a lot of animals might look at the banded mongoose as a prey species, something they might want to try to go find and eat. It's definitely important to try to conserve these animals before they're endangered. So something simple like maybe saving their habitat in the wild by recycling, using a little bit less. It's really a great way to help save them out in the wild. It's a very easy way to do it right at home. As I'm running out of our last kind of mealworms, we're definitely enjoying kind of sniffing them all out here. I think we can move on to a few of our other items. Let's see. But yeah, we can do that one. So I've got a little bit of their meats, their pelleted diet, and a little bit of fruits and veggies as well. I'm going to kind of scatter this out because they are not much ones for sharing, but they definitely like to kind of go off and eat on their own. They like to kind of... Hi, excuse you. I know, the meat is definitely very exciting. Let's see. A lot of people ask about how are these banded mongooses, a little different from meerkats. So meerkats are actually a kind of mongoose. They're actually pretty closely related. You'll find our meerkats over here over at the natural encounters area of the zoo. But I would definitely say that, ooh, excuse you, these are probably a little feistier. They're definitely not quite as, you know, a little more loosely structured. For the meerkats, they have, you know, top mom that wants to be the boss of the whole group. They're definitely kind of a looser group, but they hang out in groups of about 7 to 40. And one of the things that mongooses are really known for is going after venomous snakes. So a lot of folks out in Africa are very happy to have the mongooses out in their, you know, areas, because they'll go after things like cobras, you know, a lot of pretty scary venomous snakes for us, while they're absolutely very important for the environment in their own rights. But they have they're definitely very nimble, very agile to get around all those venomous snakes. But they also have a special receptor in their muscles. I think on a technical level, it's a acetylcholine receptor that helps them resist that kind of venom. Let's see. Let's see if I got some more goodies for them. I think I have another unusual food item for them that they don't get every day, but it's definitely something that they might go out and find out in the wild. So I've got some crushed up egg for them to kind of scatter around. You know, they might try to go raid ground bird nests out in Africa, out in the bush. They mostly live in kind of, you know, some dry savanna areas, maybe open forests. You're not going to see much of them out in something like a rainforest out in the Congo. Let's see. I think they're pretty interested in it. But each mongoose in the mob definitely has their own personality, their own temperament. There's some that are definitely a little bit more dominant, some that are a little bit, you know, a little more submissive, a little less dominant. But usually whoever gets to the food first is happy to take it. No one's a real bully out here. Let's see. Oh, and we have a few other goodies for them. Thank you. Also got some crickets for them to practice doing a little bit more hunting as well. So I think I'm going to try to scatter these all throughout. They're definitely very good at being able to find all of these bits. My favorite thing about feeding them, working with them, probably just that they're just so interested in everything. They're very curious. You know, every time that there's something different and new in here, we do different kinds of enrichment for them every day. You know, different ways that we're gonna try to get them to do the natural mongoose things that you would see them doing out in the wild. And pretty much no matter what it is new out here today, we have some new palms out here as well. They're very curious. They might want to dig, you know, they might want to den up in different ways. And, you know, with that enrichment, we try to target specific things. Maybe we can rest in a different way, or get our food in a different way, or different ways that we can get them really energized and excited about what's going on out here. So again, for any of you guys just joining us now, we are right here in the children's zoo over at the abandoned mongoose habitat. Zoo is going on. We're really excited about this cooler weather and nice rest from the cooler weather. So Zoo is going on until October 31st. And, oh my goodness, and I think they're pretty excited about Zoo too with all of these pumpkins. So they're definitely getting into the holiday spirit. Something a little bit different about mongooses than most. They're definitely more on the carnivorous, insectivore side. But something kind of unusual about them is they live in a big group, and with most of those, carnivores, you'll see just the top mom, just one more dominant female having babies. But with banded mongoose, all of the moms will actually have babies at the same time. They'll all synchronize up. They'll actually help take care of each other. They'll help take care of each other's babies. They're not quite sure of, everyone, scent marks everyone, so they're not quite sure of who's who. They're very like social and communal and really love to help each other out. What have you got there? Yeah, sometimes the mongooses even really love to check out our little habitat tubes up here, where folks can come in, get a closer look at where the mongooses are. So sometimes they'll kind of climb around there and see what's going on inside of there. But they're definitely very smart animals. Just like all of the rest of the animals at the zoo, we do a lot of training with our mongoose mob as well. It's definitely a lot nicer to ask a mongoose to come into a crate, so if we ever need to help get veterinary care, we can ask them to do it rather than to try to make them do it. But they're definitely very smart little critters. One of our questions was, where are they native to? So out in the wild, you can find banded mongooses in most of sub-Saharan Africa. So most of Africa below the Sahara Desert, with the exceptions of, you're not going to see them in the very furthest south, South Africa, and you're not going to see them over in like the Congo, where it's more of a rainforest. So they're pretty widespread. They're not endangered, but that doesn't mean that, conserving them isn't important. It's really important to start conserving things before they're in danger of going away forever. But like I kind of mentioned earlier, there are a lot of animals that really rely on them that are endangered, whether it's the painted dogs, maybe martial eagles. And they're definitely very smart, so they'll actually follow around a lot of herds of maybe large hoofstock, so like elephants, maybe buffalo. And they'll find all of the dung beetles that come from all of their droppings. So they're a great recycler for nature. Maria asks, are they active during the day? Yeah, they're definitely mostly active during the day. They love to kind of den down in more of like some kind of shelter overnight. So whether it's in the wild, a lot of the times they'll use a whole termite mound that they've kind of hollowed out. They don't quite do as much digging as the meerkats, more of kind of taking advantage of a lot of the areas that are already there, but they'll actually kind of rotate what spot that they den down in their mob's range. So sometimes people ask about, is mongooses a word? I like to use it, but I don't think it's really, it's not a proper term for them. Most people refer to a group of mongooses as a mob, sometimes a troop. You might see a lot of them digging out the bottoms of the little plants out here. That might be a very easy way for them to find a lot of bugs out in the wild. So it's pretty natural behavior for them to kind of look at the roots of plants, see what's down there, find any kind of grubs or beetles and all sorts of goodies like that. But definitely a lot of bugs in their natural diet, a lot of high proteins. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. Be sure to join us at Zubu now until October 31st and see daily pumpkin enrichment with all sorts of a variety of animals.